When it comes to video games, both modern and classic, in a majority of instances, you will find yourself controlling a character who wields some sort of weapon to accomplish their goals. Whether this is as simple as defeating the enemies in front of them, or even to start a revolution, weapons have played a key role in video games for a long time. Now, usually, when people look at weapons, they only look at the weapon wielders. But today, I'm going to be doing something a little different. Usually, it's the man that makes the weapon, per se. But in this case, I'm looking at the weapons that are just awesome no matter who wields them. If you watched any other countdown in your lifetime, you know the typical rules, and if you don't, they're simple. These weapons can only come from games that I've played, and only one per franchise. And for this list specifically, only one of each weapon type, so you won't be seeing 2 swords or spears on this list. I'm judging these weapons based on their design, creativity, and their uses both in and out of combat, so there is a small amount of influence based on their wielders. Also, note that these are my favorite weapons, not the best of all time. With that said, let's get this show on the road! Before we start this section, let's get some appropriate music playing, shall we? There we go. And for those of you who know what series this is from, then you know where I'm going with this. And for those of you who don't, coming in at number 5 on the countdown is the Metal Blades from Mega Man 2. If you've played this game, then you know that these are the best weapon in the game. Hands down. Considering that you rip apart 2 of the Robot Masters with ease, and that they can take up very little energy to use overall. And while I do like this weapon, especially the fact that it can fire in 8 directions, the weapon itself isn't super impressive. It's basically just a saw blade that you can chuck at people, and they die. Also, you can only use this weapon in Mega Man 2 and Mega Man II, or 2 in Roman numerals, which is essentially just a port to the Game Boy. However, the Metal Blades are still probably Mega Man's greatest weapon ever, which is why he's bringing them with him into Super Smash Bros. Wii U and 3DS. In conclusion, the Metal Blades are just pure destruction at your fingertips, but are limited because they're only found in 2 games. For those of you who don't know me too well, let it be known that I enjoy the Dynasty Warriors series. Sure, it may just be a glorified button masher with the mixed in special attack combos, but just the feeling of complete dominance that you get from mowing down hundreds of foot soldiers is just so satisfying. And with the large number of weapons available, it's hard for me to pick my favorite one. However, I'm judging weapons mostly, but the fighting style is also considered as well. So with special mention to Gan Ning and his pirate sword, the number 4 slot on this list goes to the masked man himself, Wei Yan, and more specifically, his double Volg. Wait, hold on just a second. Just hear me out. I know most people would say, come on man, how could you go with someone other than Lu Bu? Well, 2 things. 1, this is my list. And secondly, I'm going with my favorite weapons. And to be honest, Lu Bu's halberd to me is only impressive because Lu Bu is its wielder. On its own, it isn't exactly an interesting weapon. It's just a typical halberd. Now on to the double Volg. Wei Yan's weapon of choice is essentially like Guan Yu's Green Dragon, but with blades on both ends. So it's essentially like Darth Maul's lightsaber, but with blades and not lasers, and they're in China and not a galaxy far, far away. But what really puts this weapon over the others is the way that it's used in combat. Wei Yan uses both ends of the Volg as he cuts down his opponents, spinning the blade in specials, and all the while making his movements seem very clean and fluid. Also, his Musou attack with the Volg involves him doing a little breakdancing, which, combined with his weapon, creates a small tornado around him. This weapon doesn't get any higher because, outside of combat, the weapon doesn't really have any other uses. Still, it's one of the reasons I keep coming back to Dynasty Warriors. Honestly, I don't care how much backlash I may get for this, but I really enjoy playing the Gears of War series. And for those of you who haven't disliked this video immediately after me saying this, and then called me a hack, if you've played it, then you know that there are a lot of cool weapons from the series to pick from, ranging from a bow that fires exploding arrows to a gun that points a satellite laser down to obliterate your enemies. However, I prefer what is considered to be the iconic weapon of the series, and that, my friends, is the Lancer. Seriously, just look at this. You have a machine gun with a freaking chainsaw on it that you can use to rip apart your enemies in a glorious scene of gore. I go back to this game a decent amount, and there are a few times where I just play campaign for the sole purpose of ripping apart people with the chainsaw. The chainsaw also has a few very limited uses outside of combat, mostly cutting down barriers and ripping open small chains. Honestly, most of the people who hate on this game and the series complain about the cover system or the fact that everyone seems to be a steroid-filled superhuman. But honestly, just hearing your victim scream as you rip them apart is so satisfying, it washes those complaints away in my mind. Wow, now I know how Leatherface must feel. Okay, well, maybe not that extreme.
Show your bling and let me shine you.
Now, to get this high on the list, a weapon has to be versatile, both in and out of combat. And there are also bonus points to be had if it's the signature weapon of the series, which is why the Lancer made it as high as number 3. But coming in at number 2 is the cane from the Sly Cooper series. Now, there are a few reasons why I like this cane so much, but one of the major reasons is because of its versatility. The cane can be used for combat, beating up your typical thugs, but can also be used to pickpocket the same enemies, hang on to objects to swing over gaps, and is also the only way to access a Cooper vault. A vault filled with so many riches, and the vault itself is bigger than Donald Trump's ego. And it's probably worth more, too. The cane also gets this high on the list because, even though the Sly Cooper series is more about stealth than combat, the cane is still a very handy tool for all your needs. The cane is sleekly designed, making it the perfect size for all of its uses. And also, the cane, when sneaking up, can be used to perform special attacks that kill the opponent instantly, no matter how big the guard is. And, in Sly Cooper 3, this attack can be upgraded so that it makes no sound whatsoever. Another thing to note, with the majority of the entries before the cane, there were other tools and weapons that a character could use to complete their goals in the game, such as other guns in the Gears of War series, or just giving Mega Man a different weapon. However, in the case of Sly Cooper, all he needs is his cunning, his thieving skills, and his trusty cane to get through any situation. In conclusion, the cane is an excellent weapon both for its iconic value, versatility, and design. However, it wasn't enough to put it at the top of the list. The countdown is almost done and my favorite weapon is about to take the stage. But before that, let's do a quick recap before we get to number 1. Number 5, so much power! Number 4, get down with your bad self. Number 3, carnage! And number 2, hey look, it's a Swiss Army stick. While it may not be as versatile as Sly's cane, and it doesn't rip apart enemies like the Lancer, the number 1 entry is the key to saving multiple worlds from destruction. You may be surprised to hear this, but my favorite video game weapon of all time is the Keyblade from the Kingdom Hearts franchise. Now I know what you may be thinking. How did you not put a sword on this list? And why is this weapon your favorite? Well, the answer, like the question, is twofold. Firstly, in categories of weapons, I didn't exactly know where the Keyblade technically falls. I mean, the original Kingdom Key has no edges and seems like a blunt object. However, upon further inspection of the other types of Keyblades, including Riku's and the X-Blade, I've discovered that the majority of the Keyblades actually do have an edge. And then I decided that, since they are usually wielded similarly to a sword, that the Keyblade would be classified as such. Secondly, this weapon is very creative in its design. The multitude of different Keyblades that appear throughout the entire series are all very cool. They each have a theming behind them, usually based on the world that they came from, with the exception of the Kingdom Key, Mickey's Keyblade, and Riku's Keyblade. Riku's Keyblade is one of my favorites because of its design, and to me at least, even though Riku fights for the light, his Keyblade can be interpreted as the darkness that still remains in his heart. Overall, I would say that my favorite one, excluding the Ultima weapons, mainly because I'm too lazy to grind to get the materials to make it, would be the Decisive Pumpkin from Kingdom Hearts 2. The blade looks like a candy cane, and the handle has more of a Halloween feel to it. Also, when you hit people, bells jingle and images of jack-o'-lanterns come out, further showing the mix between Halloween and Christmas. Also, bonus points since those are my two favorite holidays. Also, the Keyblade is not limited to the protagonist. In fact, there have been many different Keyblade wielders in the series. In total, around 10 or so, not counting the warriors from the Keyblade War. Overall, even though the Keyblade isn't the most versatile and it doesn't completely destroy its enemies, just the way that the Keyblade conforms to both its master and world and how creative of a weapon it is the reason why it takes the crown as my favorite video game weapon. Now I know that some of you may not agree with me, and whether you do or not, feel free to leave a video response or comment saying what your favorite video game weapon is. And until the next time, guys and girls, this has been Gaming Jack 24/7, reminding you to just have a nice day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.
Buster McThunderstick, striking McLightning Rod. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we find the nearest home and take care of the midwife. Buster, what we doing?
It's midweek, we sexing midwife.
Where your husband at?
It's midweek, we sexing midwife.
Where your husband at?
It's midweek, we sexing midwife.
Where your husband at?
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, sexing midwife. Midwife.
She called my phone about 10 times. It's Tuesday around midnight, which means it's actually Wednesday. I get health care from my midwife. Midlife crisis.
What?
Facebook says she like this. Black chick, Spanish chick, white chick. Handcuff, daytime, nightstick.
Don't want her on no Friday, don't want her on no Saturday. Only time we sex is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Don't want her on no Sunday, don't want her on no Monday. Only time I sex is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, cause it's midweek.